This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 1421. What if I don't get hit by a bus? By Stephen Keyes of tripofalifestyle.com. Welcome to Optimal Finance Daily. I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. This is the show where I read to you from some of the best personal finance blogs on the planet, sometimes a little too enthusiastically. But I can't help it. Money is an incredible resource that we can use to craft the life of our dreams. So thanks for joining me today and every day. Are you loving Optimal Finance Daily? Why not share with a friend today? Invite them to join the party by sending them a link to oldpodcast.com. And while they're there, they can check out our 5 other shows on topics like personal development, health, and relationships. Today, I'm featuring a new author for you on the show. I'll tell you more about Stephen and Lauren right after the reading. So for now, let's get right to it and start optimizing your life. What if I don't get hit by a bus? By Stephen Keyes of tripofalifestyle.com. We're a bit extreme about saving money around here. In fact, we recommend saving so much money that you never have to work a job again if you don't want to, preferably as early in life as possible. This is usually achieved by optimizing your everyday spending and making big, deliberate choices to reduce some of life's biggest costs, especially during your 20s and 30s. Over the years, we've heard a lot of people who don't think this is such a good idea. One of the most common arguments is, but what if you get hit by a bus? The implication is that it's risky and senseless to deprive yourself of life's pleasures, especially in your best years. After all, life is fleeting, and it could all be taken away in the blink of an eye. Okay, but what if I don't get hit by a bus? Isn't that way more likely? Shouldn't I set up my life assuming I'll live to be 60 plus since there's a 91% chance that I will? Long-term thinking pays off. Unless you have a chronic illness or you put yourself in immense danger on a regular basis, chances are good that you'll live a long time. So for most people, hypothesizing about sudden death shouldn't make for a very convincing argument. Still, the YOLO reasoning is pretty popular in our society. To make money choices that will serve you better in the long run, first accept that you're gonna be around for a while. When you're 22, it's tough to imagine that you'll be 40 or 50 someday, but it really is coming. So make sure you're setting up your life to enjoy the vast majority of the years ahead, not just focusing on today. The key is to buy freedom for yourself sooner rather than later. If you spend the majority of your income in your 20s and 30s in order to enjoy life, you're also guaranteeing that you'll need to continue working full time into your 40s and 50s and beyond. That means you'll spend 30 or more extra years in an office rather than out in the world doing the things that get you excited. On the other hand, it's totally possible to save enough that working becomes optional in as little as 10 years. So if you were to really focus on saving and investing money throughout your early life, you could legitimately have 4 to 6 decades of complete freedom ahead of you afterwards. Even if those few saving years were less fun, that still seems like a fantastic trade-off. Don't miss the point though, you should enjoy the ride. While the whole hit by a bus thing isn't an argument you should plan your whole life around, its point isn't totally lost on me. We should make sure we're enjoying life along the way because yes, it could all end abruptly at any time. Luckily though, living a good life has almost nothing to do with spending more money. I get more enjoyment out of my daily commute by riding a bike than I would by driving a car. I feel more satisfied by putting in extra hours towards interesting side hustles and reaching shared goals with my wife than I would from partying more or going out to more fancy restaurants. The most lasting satisfaction in life usually comes from accomplishing things, not from enjoying an excess of leisure or luxuries. The other thing to remember is that reaching financial independence doesn't have to be a race. Sure, getting there earlier in life affords you all the benefits of compound interest and maximizes the number of years of complete freedom you get to enjoy. But giving yourself a few years of slack along the way will hardly have any negative effect in the grand scheme of things. That's why we decided to take a 45-day road trip right after college, and then another 6 months off in Hawaii after our first few years of working full time. We even took a 7-month trip through every US national park a few years after that. All of these experiences were well worth the delays they imposed on our fire date, and we have no regrets about them. At the same time, it's important to realize that neither of those breaks from reality would have even felt possible in the first place if we hadn't kept our expenses low and saving a lot of money through our 20s. The payoff of saving towards an early retirement doesn't all come at the end. The freedom you feel in life as you accumulate a buffer of cash, investments, and income streams comes little by little over time and actually improves your outlook on life a bit more every day. Imagine if your monthly expenses were cut in half and you just had an extra $100,000 in investments kicking off some modest interest and dividends. It wouldn't be nearly enough to retire on, but how would it make you feel differently about your ties to your job? Would you feel more free to take a break if you needed one? Could you find a way to work a little less and make more time for friends and family? The next time someone tells you life's short, buy the shoes, consider that life really isn't that short, and buying more stuff is probably not going to make you happier in the long run anyway. So spend less, save big, and enjoy a few hard-earned pit stops along the way to your lifetime of financial freedom. You just listened to the post titled, "What If I Don't Get Hit by a Bus?" by Stephen Keys of tripofalifestyle.com. And a big thanks to Pitney Bowes. Ship like a pro with Send Pro Online by Pitney Bowes. This is what we've been using to mail our Optimal Living daily workbooks. Send Pro Online is an easy-to-use solution that will allow you to buy postage and print shipping labels online, at the office, at home, or on the go. For as low as $4.99 a month, you'll save up to 40% off USPS Priority Mail. Plus, for being an Optimal Finance Daily listener, you'll receive a free 30-day trial to get started and a free 10-pound scale to ensure that you never overpay. You can compare and choose the best rates across carriers, schedule package pickups, and track shipments from departure to arrival. Plus, calculate exact postage, print from your PC, and avoid trips to the post office. Go to pb.com/OFD to access the special offer for a free 30-day trial plus a free 10-pound scale to get started. That's pb.com/OFD. Ship like a pro, simplify your shipping, and save with a free trial of Send Pro Online from Pitney Bowes. And thank you to Stephen and Lauren of Trip of a Lifestyle, our newest contributors to the show. After living frugally and having several talks about their wedding and honeymoon, they decided to go to Hawaii for 6 months. They used creative tricks and travel hacks to keep their entire nest egg intact. And at the age of 29, they settled into permanent semi-retirement. On Trip of a Lifestyle, they share their take on money and travel and help others get more out of life. Come by tripofalifestyle.com for a lot more. And thank you to Lauren and Stephen for letting us share their work. This article really resonated with me because today is my last day of full-time work in corporate America. And I totally appreciate the sentiment here. If you don't get hit by a bus, you have a whole lot of life you need to fund, so prioritizing saving and investing is very important. But I'll offer you another way to look at this. Life is short, too short to spend 40 or more years working for someone else. If I was hit by a bus next week, at least I got a whole week to experience not having to work full time. This idea of YOLO is a great reason to pursue financial independence. And what are you really sacrificing to buy your time and freedom anyway? Stuff you don't really need to impress people you don't really like? No thanks. I'd rather keep my expenses low and easily met. Because I know that this time and freedom is going to be so much more satisfying than all the conveniences I could buy with the 6-figure salary I just walked away from. I'm learning firsthand that the benefits of pursuing financial independence aren't reserved for when you finally reach financial independence. My diligent saving and investing over the last 5 years gave me this option to leave corporate America, even though I'm not FI and I'm not able to retire early right now. And that's another episode of Optimal Finance Daily. Thank you for your support and for listening every day, of course. We wouldn't be here if not for our fantastic listeners and contributing authors. Have a great start to your weekend, and I'll be back with another new post for you tomorrow, right here, where where your optimal life awaits.